Hello again, and welcome to Jess S. My name is Jess, and I'm here to talk to you about your face. Today is going to be my first product review. I'm reviewing Maybelline's Maybelline Fit Me Shine Free Foundation. That's not difficult to say. I don't know why I'm having trouble with it. Maybelline Fit Me Shine Free Foundation. And it's a stick, so that's cool. So just to let you guys know, I don't have any contracts or anything with Maybelline, like no one's paying me to use this or say this. I just decided to try it, and I thought it would be an interesting product, and so, favorable, unfavorable, I'll just let you know, like, these are my words. No one is paying me to say this. I haven't tried a foundation from the drugstore in like 6 or 7 years, I want to say. Um, I used to have really bad cystic acne, and so I spent a lot of money on it. Like, it was a big deal to me, and it still kind of is. Like, my favorites are like Laura Mercier's tinted moisturizer, and I love NARS tinted moisturizer as well. They're both very comparable and buildable, and those are kind of the ones that I've been using for the past little while. Um, and I've had a lot of success with those, and I love them, but they are very expensive, and I thought it would be good to have kind of a drugstore backup. Also, they're not that easily accessible to just go out and get. The NARS one I can get at Sephora, which is fairly close. It's in a JCPenney's. But the other one, I have to go all the way up to Salt Lake City, which is like 45 minutes away, to get Laura Mercier at the Nordstrom's up there. I wanted to have a backup. Part of what intrigued me about trying this was that I've been trying to kind of uh, come up with a good 10-minute face for myself for about the past month. I like to wake up early, but a lot of days, as everyone knows, that doesn't exactly work out. So I wanted to be able to figure out something that I could do fairly quickly, not have to worry about, like, if I wake up late, will I have time to put on makeup, which I have to put on makeup. Like, my skin just isn't good enough to go to work and still look polished at the same time without, like, covering that up and like evening out the skin tone a little bit. So I was intrigued by the stick foundation, especially because it's usually so easy to apply. Let's talk about the pros. First of all, one of the things I liked about it, is it's a sheer finish. It's not going to cover up like every single little flaw. I'm sure you could get it to, but it's not going to stay on as well as another product I think would. And so it has a sheer finish, which allows your face to look a lot more natural. It lets some imperfections go through, but not enough where you look fugly. Yeah, it works pretty well that way. Also, it's really quick to apply. Again, that was one of the requirements for me. Also, it goes on really smoothly. I guess it's a combination of the last two things, but I like the texture going on. A lot of stick makeups, you put them on, they kind of drag the skin, but this one's really smooth. It doesn't do that. It actually, I looked at the ingredients, it has a lot of emollients. It's a very, like, soft, moisturizing foundation, which is kind of surprising because it's touted as being shine free, and I'll explain a little bit of that more later when we do the ingredient highlight. It's also easy to blend. I put it on my face, I just kind of swipe around with my foundation brush, and that does the trick pretty much. Also, there's, no discernible oxidation. Back in the day when I stopped using drugstore foundations, it was mostly because you would get, like a line, or you would be able to see that it had turned a darker shade throughout the day. This has no discernible oxidation. I haven't noticed that at all. So it's formulated, as far as I can tell, pretty well. As far as the cons go, uh, when I put it on, usually after it looks really shiny for about 10 to 15 minutes until it kicks in. And that kind of depends on which sunscreen that I use, but it tends to look really shiny at first, even after I've powdered it. Like it takes some restraint not to like over powder initially. Also, it doesn't, and this is maybe just a personal pet peeve of mine, but it doesn't list the ingredients on the package anywhere. This is just how it comes. It doesn't come in like a box or anything. It's got like a little piece of tape to make sure that it's not dirty and no one else has touched it. But it always seems like shady to me. Like, why are you not putting the ingredients on there? That there's no reason not to, you know? I look them up online. I mean, obviously you can find them anywhere, but I still don't like that it's not on the package. I can't look in store and say, oh, this is what this is. Also, it's not a buildable foundation, which means it's not very versatile. Yeah, it's good for a daytime look. It's good, you know, for certain things, but I can't, if I wanted more coverage, it really does not build well. Also, and maybe this is just a pet peeve of mine again, but it was touted, there was like a display in the store that said, there's a powder core. And obviously it does not. I mean, you can't like, it's different colors if you can see. There's an outer core and an inner core, but like the inside isn't like pouring out, and I didn't expect it to. I feel like of course it has powder in it, but it just seems misleading to me. Also, and maybe this is just a personal thing, but it has a really brittle case. I've already broken, I drop things, I'm super clumsy, and I've already broken this case. This one's cracking just from like normal use. I wouldn't even really feel comfortable like just throwing this in my purse for touch-ups, because it's that brittle, and it doesn't stay on very well afterward. Like, I could see this getting really gross floating around in my purse. So take that with what you will. Maybe I'm the only person who worries about that. Let's talk a little bit about the formula. I really feel like cosmetic ingredients are important to know about. A lot of times things on the back of a package can sound really scary, whether you're eating them, whether you're putting them on your face. You know, some things do get absorbed through your skin and go into the bloodstream. So I do think it's legitimate to like know what you're putting on your body, but obviously it's a little bit time consuming to go through every single item on an ingredient list. So I thought I would just start doing like ingredient highlights, pick out something that I think is cool or important. You know, maybe an ingredient that I feel is key to a product working the way that it does, and talk about that so that if you recognize it in another product, you'll know what it is and it won't be scary anymore, and you'll feel good, and knowledge is power. So today's ingredient highlight is silica, and it's also known as silicon dioxide, and it's a combination of silicon and oxygen, which are the two most plentiful elements in the Earth's crust. So oxygen is actually the most plentiful, and silicon is the second most plentiful, and together they rule the world. So silica in its natural form is found in rocks. Quartz is pure silica. What else? Sand is almost completely silica. Glass is made of silica. Clay and things like granite, you know, I mean, different types of rock. To some people, silica sounds like a really scary ingredient, and this is for a legitimate reason. If you've ever heard of silicosis, you'll know why. So what happens with silicosis is that when crystalline silica is inhaled into the lungs, it's absorbed into an area of the lung called the air sac. And essentially what happens is your lungs have an immune response to it. They want to get rid of it. And so they'll, attack these crystalline silica particles and try to get them out, but they're incapable of expelling them. So what ends up happening is that immune response creates scar tissue around those crystalline silica particles. And if you'll know, if you've ever had like a scab or something like that, it doesn't stretch normally like normal skin. So over time, this scar tissue builds up and prevents the lung from stretching out when you inhale and contracting when you exhale. So it can create really bad breathing problems. People can die of emphysema, of cancer due to it. So it is a really serious issue. Silicosis is considered to be an occupational hazard for people who work doing things like sandblasting. Miners need to worry about silicosis. People who cut and work with drywall need to worry about silicosis. A lot of people in construction positions who end up inhaling silica dust. If it's so dangerous, why am I saying that it's okay to use silica? Well, first of all, the type of silica that you would encounter in, say, a construction site is totally different from the kind that they actually put in cosmetics. Crystalline silica is stuff that you find in natural rocks and quartz and things like that. The silica that you find in cosmetics is called amorphous silica, and essentially it's synthetic, and all of the molecules there, instead of being very rigid, are like stacked every which way, all cattywampus. And this prevents that scarring. This silica is approved by the FDA for use in cosmetics. It's used in a lot of other applications as well, which I won't get into here. But yeah, like it's safe to use. So even if you're finding it in a loose powder, it's generally considered safe for use. So what does silica do? What is its purpose? The first thing that most people think of when they think of like what it does as an active ingredient is that it absorbs oil or moisture. So if you have a greasy face, it can actually hold up to 7 times its own weight in moisture, which is pretty freaking decent. It's also used as an anti-caking agent, and these are even found in like foods and stuff. If you have a powder, a lot of times it'll stick together, it'll stick to itself, and you won't be able to break the parts apart. But silica and other anti-caking agents like it, if you add those to it, it'll keep it nice and loose and from like getting all clumpy and gross and nasty. It's also used as a bulking agent because it's fairly innocuous. It doesn't, react adversely on a chemical level with many things. It's great for like, well, we need to bulk this product up, or we need to, like spread out the other active ingredients more. So you can put in some silica and boom, you've got more bang for your buck. So in the ingredients list for this product, they have the outer core and the inner core listed as 2 separate ingredient lists. And silica is like maybe a little bit less than halfway down on the inner core ingredient list. So it means there's a fairly decent amount of it in there. And what I think is that it's being used as an active ingredient to help prevent shine. And there are actually 2 ways that it does this, which I think are pretty interesting. So the first way that I'll talk about is that it scatters light. So if you have like a slippery, shiny, oily face, like I do usually, it makes it really easy for light to come in and just bounce right off of it. Boom, boom, I'm blind, I can't see anything. And that's what makes it look really shiny to the eye. But silica actually creates kind of an optical illusion. What happens is the light will bounce onto the skin, and instead of being shut off in just one direction, or essentially one direction, the little particles in it scatter the light and sends it every which way. The other way that it works is, of course, that it actually like sucks up the moisture on your face, and it can kind of do this over time. And one of the interesting things that I found out was that actually when you formulate something like a product, this was obviously like formulated, mixed together, and then poured into some sort of mold, and then, you know, like dried so that we could use it. Um, but I was wondering, well, how do you keep the silica from absorbing all of the other wet ingredients? But I found out that actually they'll pre-treat silica that's going to be used in a formulation like that with a volatile liquid. So they'll basically like fill it up with this liquid. They'll totally saturate it. Then they'll add it to the formula. And then when you end up putting the formula on your face, that volatile liquid will completely evaporate, leaving those silica shells empty and available to pick up the gross oil or whatever is on your face. Pretty cool, huh? So that's about it for this video. I'm going to be doing, like, this face that I have on right now was done with the Maybelline stuff. I just finished filming a makeup tutorial, a 10-minute makeup tutorial about it. So that'll be coming up soon. Look out for that if you guys are interested at all. And if you liked this video, I hope you did like, subscribe, tell your friends. I hope you guys are having a great day, and I'll see you later. So I put it on my face, I just, whoa. I just kind of like swipe it around. So I put it on my face. You can't inhale this. I mean, you could try, but I think you would have to worry about asphyxiation from having this makeup shoved down your throat before you would have to worry about the silica getting you. That's stupid.